We're going to Greenland with the racist Care Bear, JD Vance, and asking, is he the worst diplomat ever? So he had an utterly tragic trip to Greenland, and he said this while he was there.
We have to have Greenland, and I think that we do have to be more serious about the security of Greenland. We can't just ignore this place. We can't just ignore the president's desires.
Ooh, it's a bit weird.
We have to listen to the Trump's desires?
Yeah.
Do we?
Ooh, I don't think we want to know about Trump's desires. Thank you very much.
No.
Why does he wear so much eyeliner? Given that everybody points it out. What is it?
I'm
Is he a
guessing
goth?
maybe it's like, you know, if I haven't got my false eyelashes on, I feel like I've got no eyes. Maybe he feels the same about eyeliner.
Maybe it's like me with a bra. There's absolutely no way I could risk going out without one.
Juliet Kayham wrote, so strange to talk of a president's desires. I thought the country had national interests.
Exactly. And Devin Duke just said, this is the weirdest statement ever. And yes, we can ignore the president's desires. And somebody called Jed Aliap just said, I don't think the level of failure of Vance's Greenland trip is being highlighted enough. They couldn't find anyone for Usha to talk. What is Usha?
Usha is JD Vance's wife.
Oh, right. They couldn't find anyone for Usha.
What's an Usha?
Usha? What the fuck's Usha? Usha's JD Vance's wife. JD Sports and Usha. Usha. Oh my God, that's so Bo Selector. Usha, Bo Selector. Anyway, to talk to. So they gave up and sent them to the US base where JD gave an offensive speech in front of a stone-faced handful of soldiers who clearly all hate him. Leaves on his hat inscribed, once a Marine, always a Marine. Should have said, once a bellend,
once a Care Bear, always a Care Bear.
In a mess hall, which Marines know not to do, and then leaves. Clearly, everyone who works with him hates him, or they would have reminded him. Total time on the ground, 3 hours.
They were trying to orchestrate this whole visit where Usha would actually spend time with people who lived in Greenland, and there'd be a bit of a PR moment. It'd be the welcoming of them, which endorses their sort of bid for Greenland, which is nothing to do with security, by the way, and everything to do with the rich minerals under the ground. Like, Trump is so stupid he's said as much. And basically, US officials, this is as reported by The Independent, they went knocking door to door to try and find someone to be visited by the Vances, and they found precisely no one.
It's like in the last election when a Tory MP would come round canvassing and everyone was like, I'm not in. Or you're just like, when you creep towards the front door to look through the little spy hole, but then a floorboard creaks, you think, shit, and then you duck till they go away. I've done that. Yeah, come in. Yeah, JD, Usha, what do you want? Cup of piss? Super. I can offer you an old cracker.
How about this gone-off piece of mackerel?
Yeah.
Can we also mention what Vance was wearing? So he was basically wearing very similar to what Zelensky wore when he showed up at the Oval Office, to which he got loads of abuse about why he wasn't wearing a suit and does he own a suit. And Tommy of Finland wrote, when you order a Zelensky from Temu. And it's just like, after all that fuss, he stole Zelensky's look.
Yeah, exactly. There was just at one point, apparently as well, it was reported that when Vance was coming off the jet, he was waving. There wasn't really anybody there.
To no one.
Let's move on now to Labour and how their shitty austerity and their desire to keep trying to keep Trump on side and their lack of imagination means that pressure is rising. And the message from the likes of Gary Stevenson's, who we are very proud to have had on Trawl Meets, and can I just say, quite a long time ago.
Yes,
everybody.
Ahead of the curve.
Yeah, sort of before he was really cutting
through.
Cool. Yeah. You could say maybe we're trendsetters or trailblazers. I don't know. You could say that. Or not. It's up to you. So to that spring statement, Pippa Creer said, breaking government's own impact assessment on welfare cuts finds they would drive 250,000 more people, including 50,000 children, into poverty. Marvellous.
Yeah. And they've looked at that impact assessment and they've gone, okay.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Green light it. Yeah, green light it.
Cognitive Dye said, in difficult times to save money, you could try skipping meals, not using your heating, walking 5 miles to your 12-hour shift, buying out-of-date or spoiled produce to stretch the budget. Or you could say, no, fuck right off. We must tax wealth and prioritise human beings over profit.
There you go. There you go. I can't believe we're still having this conversation. If you just go up to the average Joe and just say, who should pay more in taxes? People that go out to work or people that sit on their asses and their assets just grow and grow and grow? Tell me. I don't think that's a left or right issue. I think that's a wrong or right issue.
Let's get on to question time, where Gary Stevenson appeared.
What do you think the solution or solutions might be?
We have to shift the tax system. We have a tax system which taxes ordinary working people 30, 40, 50, 60%, while people like the Duke of Westminster can inherit £10 billion and pay nothing. If you do that, wealth will be sucked out of the middle class. It's already been completely bankrupted the working class. It will bankrupt the government, which is what we are seeing. And there'll be poverty. There'll be broad poverty. There'll be no middle class left. Why are we taxing working people more than billionaires? Tax wealth, not work. Give these people a break. Give their kids a chance. Tax the billionaires. Of course you should.
OK.
Who here's £20,000 cash rich than before COVID? I'll tell you who probably is. Every single person on this panel, OK? The richest people in the country are getting richer.
Hang on, don't include us in all this. I don't know if you've seen the way the BBC works, but they're not exactly raising salaries by that much.
All I'm going to say is...
That bit was wonderful. Camilla Tominay was on the panel, you know, the lady from the Telegraph, and she honestly she looked like she'd sucked a lemon to have been drawn into that conversation. But turns out Gary Stevenson was spot on, because as Danny effing Price wrote, Fiona Bruce's salary before COVID was £250,000 a year, and now it's £400,000 a year. So
She's done all right.
She's done all right. Right. Let's go now to another turn that really got a lot of traction. So you've had Gary Stevenson on Question Time, who was just fab. And Patriotic Millionaires are just really ramping up the pressure now. Now that they've got a Labour government to be talking to, I think they hoped they'd have way more of an ear. Turns out not, but keep going. A lady called Julia Davies did a great turn on Sunday Morning Live.
I'm really sick of wealth being a dirty word in this country. And I think this is predicated on the politics of envy.
Of course, we can't allow this. So I represent a group called Patriotic Millionaires. We absolutely don't think wealth is a dirty word. Suggesting that asking for fair taxation of wealth is treating wealth as something that's a dirty word. It's just nonsensical. We need to stop allowing that. So my wealth comes from, yes, setting up a business. I worked very hard. I took risks. I sold my house to invest in that. I now invest in multiple businesses within the UK. I never worked harder than a headmistress or headmaster. I never worked harder than the people in our NHS. They work extremely hard too. So asking for fair taxation of wealth is not punishing anyone any more than asking working people to pay national insurance and income tax is punishing people. We have to have investment in our NHS. That's got to come from somewhere.
New girl crush?
Yeah, absolutely. It was so refreshing to hear that from a millionaire.
Oh, wonderful lady. And just like, yeah, shut up. It's politics of envy. It isn't. It
Absolutely isn't. No.
And, you know, how eloquent, and just the fact that she's got the dough and she can sit there and just go, no, you're talking absolute nonsense. It was beautifully done.
So good. And and then there's compassion. She had compassion. I mean, we need a bit more of that.
It was announced this week, in very good news for functioning democracy, that far-right leader Marine Le Pen is actually going to jail. So she has been convicted for embezzling EU funds. So she also won't be able to stand for office for 5 years.
You mean they don't let convicted criminals run for office?
I know.
The nerve to embezzle funds from the EU, which is, she rallied against. Like, does that remind you of anyone?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
2018, jog your
One
memory.
that still gets a pension from the EU?
Back in 2018, Nigel Farage, you see what I did there? Nigel Farage, he had his European Parliament salary docked by £35,500, and that was after claims he misspent EU funds over claims that his office assistant had not been working on EU matters. It's always projection, isn't there?
It's almost like they're a bunch of old grifters. All or Muffin spoke for us when she said, Marine Le Pen is a convicted felon. She's guilty of embezzlement. She created fake contracts to use taxpayers' money to fund her party. I know this concept is wild to Americans, but in the EU, convicted felons can't run for office while they're in jail. And Count Binface had started all of this off by just saying, Marine Le State Pen. Very good.
And Paul Sinha, I think, wins with, turns out Le Pen is not mightier than the fraud.
Whee!